I feel like every single day this week I've been saying this. I feel so good. The NFL is back. We are one game in, over 200 more to go. But this is the early edge. This is our weekly props extravaganza. There will be no totals here. There will be no money line plays here. You got to have the stomach for props. You got to be willing to do the work, or you can come to our show and have three of the absolute very best. So let's bring in the stars of the show. You know him, you love him, and he's been gone since last January, so he gets the first introduction for one of the greatest fantasy football show on the air today. Proppy calls him Uncle Dave. I call him for dinner. Dave Richards, welcome back to the early edge.
I appreciate that warm welcome, Coach. And it's great to see Poppy and EC. Looking forward to making some money with you. And it was a warm welcome, but I'm kind of cold in here. Feels like something's missing. Something that's usually a part of what I do when I come on this show. Yes.
Let's go.
There we go. This is what people will really want to see, is a fat guy putting clothes on. So I'm happy to deliver for everybody. Coach, it's great to be back. Let's cash some tickets, huh?
Damn it, you're right. Let's cash some tickets. Now you look like you belong on the prop show. I knew something was missing. Next, he is the greatest prop bettor in America today. And he's on our team. And in the chat, they love him already. He moves lines, they say. PropStarz, welcome back to your show.
Coach, good afternoon. EC, great to see you. Very excited. Uncle Dave, my long-lost uncle, we're finally reunited again. It's been way too long. I've told this before, but I have been listening to Dave's podcast for over 10 years. When I got the opportunity to appear on this show with David, it's been such a career highlight. So I am so fired up. It's week one. I am ready to get started.
It's such a career highlight that he didn't even reach out via email, phone, DM, text, pigeon carrier, anything since January. But you know what? That stuff doesn't matter now, right? It's all about now. Yeah. And it's good to see you, my wonderful degenerate nephew.
That's why I'm your degenerate nephew.
We're dudes, though. Dudes cannot talk for 6 months, and we're good. There's nothing wrong. We're dudes.
It's true. Yeah.
Now, we go from a career highlight to potentially a career low light. But I made this decision. And I stick by it. My man, EC, welcome. You're a full-time member of the Props crew. Big shoes to fill.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Coach, just to replace the counselor on the show, it means a lot. I don't know that I can follow in his footsteps, but I will do my best. Let me say this. I have been reading Dave forever, and I am in 3 leagues, fantasy leagues with Proppy this year. Dave, you're going to help me take him down in all 3.
And ladies and gentlemen, live from Japan, look who's in the chat. Oh, his 1 to his 2. Buckets is his. Hashtag Cohenheads. He texted me, he goes, I got to support EC today from Japan.
My guy.
Japan. All right, gentlemen, we're going to do it a little bit different this year. We're not going to waste a lot of time. People are very, very busy. Here's what we're going to do. And also remember, we rolled it out yesterday, the SportsLine AI model. Last night, 15-6, I believe was the number that it hit. Pretty good. So we're going to feed into that on the NFL shows as well. But we're going to do this by position. And I think, Uncle Dave, that we're going to start with you. Because as I look at your very first pick for a rushing prop, interesting that it's a quarterback. Start us off.
And it's a quarterback who fantasy managers are a little leery to trust. And a lot of people don't like this guy, but we can make money with Deshaun Watson going over 23.5 rush yards, minus 115 at Caesars. When he was in Houston, he regularly averaged about 5 or 6 rush attempts per game, and he was getting plenty of rushing yards when he was doing it. In 6 games last year with the Browns, when his arm was total doo-doo, he averaged 6 rush attempts per game, and he actually averaged almost 30 rushing yards per game. This very preseason, I was in attendance at his first preseason game, Coach. I saw him. He was running then. It's the preseason. What are you doing, Deshaun? He can't help himself. 30 snaps this preseason over 2 games, 6 carries, 21 yards. This guy will run. This Bengals defense isn't necessarily a shutdown unit. They're already missing one of their key contributors among their front 7. I think Deshaun Watson's easy to get somewhere between 27 and 37. Why not? Rushing yards in this game. This is my favorite pick of the week. We're starting with a banger. Deshaun Watson over 23.5 rushing yards.
I absolutely love this play. I absolutely do. I think he got through that year of kind of getting back out in the public and listening and everything, and now we're moving past that. Now he's going to play some football, and I love this play to start us off. Now, there's a quarterback that last year we cashed game after game after game. I don't know how many games we're going to have where Justin Fields has a prop number that we can play, but at least week 1, we do.
Yes, we do, Coach. He's over 55.5 rushing yards. I shopped around for the best price and found a -115 on DraftKings. Now, you cashed his over prop, assuming it was this low, in 9 of his last 10 games last season. Green Bay, it was one of those games he rushed for 71 yards and a touchdown on 6 attempts against them late in the year. Oh, by the way, that same Packers team gave up 157 rushing yards to Jalen Hurts last season as well. That was the only other mobile quarterback that I would put in the same category as Fields. Now, I don't want to copy my brother Spectre here with his AI projections for every pick, but this one has 84.6 going over by 30 yards, and I think he's a lot more right than the actual prop line. So I love this number, and we're going to hit Justin Fields over 55.5 rushing yards. Now, let's stay in the same game, Coach, and I don't have an AI projection for this one. It's kind of obscure, but now after the news that's broken this afternoon that Christian Watson is out for the Packers, I like A.J. Dillon's rushing total over 43.5 yards at -110 on DraftKings even more. Now, I bet this the other night when I first found it at 39.5 rushing yards. Well, why would I do that so early? His last 4 games against Chicago, 59, 71, 61, and 93. The Bears were the second worst rush defense in the league last season. In Green Bay, let's be honest, with Jordan Love, they're going to try and play ball control, run the ball. I mean, who's going to catch passes for this team now that Watson, their number 1 guy, is out? Romeo Doubs, rookie Jalen Reed, rookie Luke Musgrave. Now they're going to run the ball with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. Expect Dillon to get 12 to 15 carries, if not more. I think he had 10 or 12 games last year with 10 or more carries. I think he well exceeds that and goes over the 43.5 rushing yards. And finally, this one, I think this one's too easy. I mean, this is an absolute gift. This is my favorite play of the week. J.K. Dobbins over 59.5 rushing yards. I found the best price at -115 on MGM. His AI projection is 77.8. He was over in his last 5 games last season after he came back from injury. Houston, by the way, had the worst rushing defense in the league last season, gave up 170.2 yards per game. The Ravens were second in rushing last year, 160 yards per game. And the game flow, if it's as I expect, should predict a lot of carries for J.K. Dobbins. Let's hammer this overline.
You're already getting venom in the chat. LaMelo says, hey, AC, you don't disrespect my Packers pass catchers like that.
I'm a Packer fan.
Clearly, you're
telling
not.
the truth.
Clearly, you're
I'm
not.
telling the truth.
Clearly, you're not. By the way, AB's in the chat, our 5-tool player. Any questions for him? Go ahead. He hit 3 big green check marks last night. He will answer them for you in real time. Now, Proppy, I know you love Dobbins this week, so back that play up, but you also like a rookie running back as well. Talk to me.
Yeah, I love the J.K. Dobbins look as well. Put this out on the site, actually, I believe at 56.5. So some nice closing line value there as long as this keeps trending upwards, which I think it will. I think EC hit the nail on the head. Can't ask for a better matchup. Dobbins looked 100% healthy. The final quarter of the season last year was averaging close to 7 yards per carry, 99 yards per game over those final 4 games with the Ravens. In the offseason, John Harbaugh pronounced that he was 100% healthy, which was certainly a good indication. That's reflected in the depth chart as well, because the Ravens really didn't add any competition for touches in that backfield. So I think Dobbins is going to get 12 to 15 carries, which should be more than enough to go over 60 yards against just an absolutely terrible Houston defense. That should be a little bit improved, but still, that defense was historically bad from a rushing perspective last season. And even if they take a jump, they're still going to be a soft matchup, in my opinion. So love backing Dobbins here as well. And then as far as rookie running backs are concerned. We're talking Bijan Robinson. Gave this out yesterday on the site at 13.5. It's now up to 15.5 on a lot of books. That is over 13.5 rushing attempts. So if you are a SportsLine member, you have gotten serious closing line value if you had access to this line that I gave out. At 15.5, I'd actually still play it, but I'd maybe scale down to half of a unit. Bijan is going to be the feature back, obviously, for the Falcons. I expect him to handle the majority of that work, of that early down rushing work in Atlanta. Atlanta ran the ball as much as any team in the NFL last season, and that was before they spent a top 10 pick on a generational running back in Bijan Robinson, who they are certainly going to feed early and often. It's also a good matchup against a Panthers team where the Falcons are favored. They will run the ball if they're up. They will run the ball if they're down. I expect Bijan to be the focal point of that ground game. So love both of these spots.
Now, I also know that concerning the Ravens game, that you have found a kind of a new market this year, kind of head-to-head matchups. Can you educate me?
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. So, yeah, if you have access to DraftKings, FanDuel, you'll have noticed that there is additional markets popping up in the prop market. One that I thought was really interesting was targets. You can actually bet on head-to-head targets. One specific matchup in that Ravens-Texans games that we're discussing was Nico Collins against Odell Beckham. I really like this spot. It's almost even money, so you can basically bet on who's going to receive more targets in the game. I think Nico Collins is a very good bet against Odell Beckham here. Nico is going to be the number one option in Houston's passing game. Really doesn't have a lot of competition. He was averaging close to 8 targets per game over the second half of the season before he got hurt last year, and that was with Brandon Cooks on the roster. CJ Stroud now playing quarterback, second overall pick. I think he's going to heavily feature Nico Collins. I think his target floor should be at least 6 to 8, whereas Odell Beckham is going to be vying for targets with Zay Flowers, the rookie, with Rashad Bateman, obviously Mark Andrews being the focal point of their passing attack. So I like this spot quite a bit to back Nico Collins against Odell Beckham for targets. So look at those markets on DraftKings and FanDuel.
Yeah, I like those markets a lot. I'll be honest with you, Dave. Every time my peripheral, that damn duck looks like you have your hand up in the air. I feel like you're going to talk every time. It's like, we got to move that damn duck.
He's gone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anything else I can remove?
No. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, you want me out of it?
I know. I've almost called on you 3 times.
I like Dave's background, by the way. That's a new background for Dave as well.
You know, one thing that's changed, I'm in an office now. Remember when I used to come on the show from a closet?
Yes.
Yeah. We were going to get padded for you.
I actually have a whole room in the building here in Fort Lauderdale all to myself.
Wow.
It's very nice.
You've earned it, Dave. You're a Hall of Famer.
You damn right. You're a Hall of Famer.
You.
That's right.
I look forward to having you guys here. We can have a closed door meeting at some point and be corporate and all that stuff.
EC, we're never taking you to Florida. You don't even have to worry about it. Jay Kane says, glad to be back, fellas. I'm riding with Proppy all year again to catch another bag this year. And then a lot of you are acting like Sia is not going to be around. That's just not true. But the man is really, really good at what he does, which means he's got other responsibilities. He's going to be on every primetime NFL show. He's going to have props all over the place. He's going to be posting them on his own Twitter. So don't even worry about it. He's still a part of the crew. He's going nowhere. Damn. Now, speaking of going nowhere, we are most definitely going somewhere because we always show up. Snake, roll it.
Get breaking news.
Big news coming out of the NFL today.
Highlights and instant reactions.
The largest final round comeback in tour championship history. We're down to the Final Four.
I just want to take time to analyze greatness.
Talk winners and losers with a guy who's already a big winner.
CBS Sports HQ. It's all sports all day long.
Damn right. We're going to be there almost every single day with previews, live betting. That's what hashtag the crew does. By the way, speaking of the crew, Amax is in the chat. He's going to be doing NFL for us this season. Any questions for him, put them in the chat. He'll answer them in real time. All right, gentlemen, I need to talk receiving props. This could be a running back. It could be a wide receiver. It could be a tight end. Hell, it could even be a quarterback on a throwback if you wanted to bet on it. I wouldn't. Now, Dave, let me come to you because I like how you start. A lot of credibility, and then we just kind of go down the ladder from there. What do you like in the receiving prop?
Now? credibility, and then we go down the ladder. Don't talk about EC like that.
Don't do that
First
to
show
Proppy,
and all
Coach.
that.
Maybe I was talking about Proppy.
And
Okay,
there's no
you're
chance.
right, you're
We
right.
all get rich off Proppy. He's got all the credibility on this show. I'm lucky to be here. Okay. There was a prop that I saw that is just, it's silly low. It's Jordan Addison, the rookie wide receiver of the Vikings, over 39.5 receiving yards. I shopped around. I found it at minus 115 on DraftKings. We're talking about one of college football's most explosive receivers over the past 2 seasons and a first-round pick. And we're talking about a Vikings offense that was top 3 in the NFL in pass rate last year and is expected to be right up there again this year. And we're talking about the Bucs. That's who the Vikings play. This defense is still solid against the run, so I don't know if Minnesota's going to have much of a chance to gain yards on the ground anyway. They've talked a little bit this offseason about doing more rushing the football, but it's all about receiving. And this is the man who's replacing Adam Thielen. I think Adam Thielen would get over 39.5 receiving yards. Now we're talking about a guy who's like a decade younger and is so quick in and out of his cuts. So impressive at 2 different colleges with 2 different future NFL quarterbacks. He was outstanding. This is just a great matchup and a great opportunity for Jordan Addison to bust through and get in the neighborhood of at least 55 yards. If not, honestly, 75, 80 yards. He's a great after-catch receiver. Take the over on 39.5 receiving yards.
I love this kid. I absolutely love this kid. I loved him in college. He is an absolute banger, and he's going to be a great pro. He's not big. He's not big by any stretch. But, man, can he play football. Now, a lot of people like that Bijan favorite hour of the week. So much positivity today. And, EC, I'm coming to you because there's a lot of receivers that need to have a bounce-back year. And your guy – he either catches like 2 or 3 balls a game or he does nothing. Let's hope this week is one of those 2 or 3 balls a game.
No, Coach, we're going for more than that. Are you kidding? This is a breakout candidate this year in Juwan Johnson, the Saints tight end, over 27.5 receiving yards. And the best price I could find was minus 110 on MGM. Now, I promise, first of all, that I'm not just going through SportsLine AI and picking the best picks. I just happen to notice some things. And, oh, by the way, the AI number for my brother Spectre has 41.5. Goes way over on Juwan Johnson. We'll tell you why here. The Titans were worst against the tight end last season. 98 receptions, 1,130 yards, and 6 touchdowns. That's brutal. It was the most in the league among any team. So Johnson was second on the team last year with 508 receiving yards. Probably not going to be that high with Michael Thomas back healthy plus Chris Olave. But you have a quarterback who loves feeding the tight end. Just look at that Derek Carr and Darren Waller relationship with the Raiders. He was feeding Waller, 100 times a year, if not more. Juwan Johnson, 75 catches, 750 yards. That's what I'm predicting. So we're going way over this 27.5 in week 1 against a bad team, or against a team that's not bad, but bad covering the tight ends.
I love it. You're selling me on it. And by the way, he keeps bringing up SportsLine AI, right? We keep bringing up in the chat, oh, Bijan, I told you, my man Proppy moves the number. It's 15.5. Well, if you're a SportsLine member, then you would got it when he gave it out. That's what you have to do. You got to turn on those notifications. But guess what? I'm a giver. So I'm going to do you a solid right here, right now. Become a SportsLine member. I'll give you 60% off. Use a promo code COACH. 60% off your first 3 months. After that, we're going to gouge you for all of $10 a month. It's the greatest value in all of sports betting, and you get so much, including our picks, way before the show. Which brings us back to Proppy. I'm seeing 2 here, and I have one name that I think a lot of people forgot about because he was suspended last year. But this dude can flat out ball. Who am I talking about?
Yeah, we're talking Calvin Ridley of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Coach gave him out on the site. If you're a SportsLine member, you would have gotten this at 58.5 receiving yards, up to 62, 63 on some books. I still like it there. I was incredibly impressed and encouraged after watching Calvin Ridley in the preseason, displayed excellent chemistry with Trevor Lawrence. I am bullish on this Jacksonville Jaguars offense. I think it's going to be an up-tempo, high-volume aerial attack. I also think Calvin Ridley is going to step immediately into that alpha wide receiver 1 role as well. Again, displayed great chemistry with Trevor Lawrence in the preseason. He honestly looked better than he even looked in Atlanta despite the layoff. was very, very impressed with Calvin Ridley. I expect him to get double-digit targets on a weekly basis. So I think this number is going to continue to trend up as the season progresses and as everyone gets to see how good Calvin Ridley really is. He's also fighting for a contract. He wants a big long-term deal, which he will hopefully secure at the end of this season. So love that spot. And then another receiver in this same game is Michael Pittman Jr. Gave this out in my article, under 53.5 receiving yards. I like Michael Pittman Jr. I just don't really like the situation for him. Anthony Richardson is the starting quarterback for the Colts. He is an elite athlete, but he is a very raw passer. He's got a cannon for an arm, but as far as the short and intermediate routes are concerned, just has not displayed a lot of touch. Just does not have a lot of experience either. We saw a real mixed bag in the preseason. He could make some huge throws, but then again, when it was like came to those accurate short passes, really just seems like he's behind the 8 ball there. Pittman runs almost all of his routes near the line of scrimmage. He relies on timing and accuracy from his quarterback. He also relies on a lot of targets. I just think this Colts team is not going to really be a high-volume passing attack. I also think they're going to run the ball quite a bit with Anthony Richardson, with their running backs as well. And I think when he does pass the ball, he's going to take shots down the field. I just think he's a bad match for the skill set that Michael Pittman Jr. has. So I really like fading him under 53.5 receiving yards. This has moved down to 49.5, 50.5. I'd still play it there. My threshold is 47.5 yards for this particular fade.
Big Cheesy said, Proppy had a great year betting NFL props last season with the upgrade on the shells behind him. It has been an upgrade, let's be honest. Right, Proppy? I mean, you look like $1 million.
Thank you, Coach.
You're very welcome. Now,
CBS takes good care of us.
Yes, they do. And I was actually just getting ready to mention CBS, so I'm so glad you did, Proppy, because we're exploding. I mean, this brand is absolutely exploding. And the next month, you guys won't even believe what I have for you. You won't even believe what I have for you. But we are also very, very privileged to have a great network behind us that has tons of stuff this weekend. Snake?
Here we go. This is all we all been waiting for. Time for some football, baby. Plowing ahead for the touchdown.
Oh my gosh, here he goes.
We can't wait for Sunday afternoons.
And guess what? 3 big shows on Sunday. 10 a.m. Eastern time, getting you set. Noon to 1, getting you set for the early games and the 4 o'clock games. Then primetime early edge at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We've added Phil McKagan to the team, and he was amazing last night. What an angle he brings from a former coach's perspective. Can't wait to have him for Cowboys Giants this Sunday night. Now, Phil McKagan was a receivers coach when he was in the NFL. He coached the likes of Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, some of the best receivers in the league. We got to find him right here, right now for week number 1. So, Dave, I'm coming to you first because these are passing props, and I need to know who's going to throw to these wide receivers. So, I believe you have a name that maybe not a lot of people thought was going to be a player this year, but maybe he is. Talk to me.
I'm going to tell you about that name, but I'm going to save him for last because I have 3 passing props.
Love it.
To have you take in and consider for your betting enjoyment. The first one, this is a name you know. He is now the highest paid player in NFL history on a per year basis. It's Joe Burrow. That's great that he's getting paid. He's still going to throw an interception. Over 1/2 interception plus 106 at Caesar Sportsbook. These are going to be his first meaningful snaps since straining his calf. He didn't practice from July 28th to August 30th. Now, I don't have a calendar in front of me, but I'm going to go ahead and guess that that's more than a month. And that means he's had no more than 12 days to get himself sharp for this matchup against Cleveland. And this is actually a very good Cleveland defense. Their pass rush, they already had Myles Garrett. Now they've got Zadarius Smith, and Jim Schwartz is calling it from up front. So that pressure is going to be on him. And the secondary is deep. They actually have a very talented defense in Cleveland. So asking for an interception here, it's not that big of a deal. He's going to be rusty. It's probably going to happen. And here's something a little extra. Burrow's thrown an interception in each of his past 4 games against the Cleveland Browns. So when the Browns defense wasn't even as good as it is now, he was still throwing picks. This is a better bet than his under on his passing yards, 264.5, which is also curiously low, but that one costs more to take. You're getting odds in your favor on this one. Burrow's throwing an interception over at plus 106. That's one. Number two, Ryan Tannehill, over 30.5 pass attempts. That's a minus 119 at Caesars. He's only been over this 4 times last year. So why would we chase Ryan Tannehill throwing a lot of passes? Look at what the Titans have done over the last several months. They've got DeAndre Hopkins. Traylon Burks, healthy now. He was hurt before. Second-year breakout candidate. Chigo Okonkwo at tight end. Someone who moves pretty well. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to watch this kid play. When the matchups were better later this year, Chigo Okonkwo is a name to keep in mind in fantasy. And Tannehill got sacked 33 times last year. Those are 33 pass plays out the window in 12 games. The offensive line is better. The draft proved that for the Tennessee Titans. And the Saints' run defense remains strong. I think that's going to be a game where things get a little lopsided for the Titans. And even if it doesn't, they want to throw. They've got DeAndre Hopkins. He's not there to block for Derrick Henry. So I think Ryan Tannehill does go and get over 30.5 pass attempts in that game. Let's get to the guy that you brought up, Coach. Sam Howell of the Washington Commanders. The Commanders called their shot on him. They made him their starter months ago, basically. And he's really proven to be pretty good based on what we saw in the preseason. Reports on him out of training camp are good, but he's taking on the Arizona Cardinals. And get ready to hear a lot about the Arizona Cardinals on this show because they are terrible. On defense, they just traded one of their best defenders in Isaiah Simmons to the Giants. On offense, they've got Josh Dobbs starting at quarterback. He was on the Browns 3 weeks ago. This is going to be a team that's not going to score a lot of points, not going to move the ball very effectively, and their defense isn't very good. And so I think Sam Howell goes under 28.5 pass attempts in this game because he doesn't have to. And we've already seen something like this before. In week 18 last year, a blowout win against the Cowboys. Cowboys had a playoff spot locked up. They didn't care. Howell threw just 19 times, including 3 times in the fourth quarter. And there's another wrinkle. In that Dallas game, Howell had 3 scrambles for over 25 dropbacks. So 1 scramble every 8.3 times that he had to go and throw a pass. He was designed to throw a pass. He either got pressured or he didn't see anybody open, and he ran. So if he drops back even 32 times in this game by that metric alone, if he stays on that average, we're still going under on this prop. I love this one. It's a little juicy at minus 125, but Sam Howell, maybe he gets around 25 passes off in this game against Arizona.
I will ask all of you at home one very simple question. Do you want to do the work? I didn't think so. Next level kind of stuff right there from Dave. Next level kind of stuff, which is why Mike in the chat said, this is the best prop show on the internet. I call it the world. Nice. You call it the internet. I call it the world. Same. Now, there's at least one person in the chat that is a SportsLine member. At least one, because Bobby said Proppy likes over on the Howell yards. I wonder what his thoughts are, which means he would have to be a SportsLine member, wouldn't he, Proppy, to get that play before the show?
He absolutely would, because this appeared on the site as well. I love Sam Howell. I would also say at first glance, it may appear that these plays don't necessarily pair well together. Dave's fading of his attempts and my being over on his yards. I actually think Sam Howell can be incredibly efficient in this particular matchup and still go over on mine, under for Dave. But I love Sam Howell. I was so encouraged watching him in the preseason, one of the more efficient performers in the preseason overall. Also, it's not easy to beat out Jacoby Brissett for a quarterback job, who played very well for Cleveland last year and is a viable backup. And to me, he's like a top 20-ish, top 25 starter in the NFL. Sam Howell won that job very early. So that tells you all you need to know, in my opinion, how good he looks. So, yeah, he looked phenomenal. This is a Cardinals defense last year that was the second biggest pass funnel in the NFL besides the Miami Dolphins. When teams chose to attack the Cardinals, they opted to go very, very pass heavy, which is why I like Sam Howell to throw the ball down the field in this matchup, because this Cardinals secondary cannot cover. Sam Howell has an elite pair of wide receivers in Jahan Dotson, who I like quite a bit. You will see that if you're a SportsLine subscriber as well. And Terry McLaurin, who practiced this week in full, which is a great indication that he's over that turf toe injury and should be 100% healthy. Weapons all over the place as well for Sam Howell. If you look at Curtis Samuel, Logan Thomas, Antonio Gibson can cast passes. So I really think this Commanders offense at home is going to air the ball out quite a bit. I think he's easily going to top 210 passing yards. I think this line should have been 230, 225 personally. So pretty significant edge there for me. Love Sam Howell. I think he's going to carve up this Cardinals pass defense. And then another quarterback who I like, but we're going to fade. We're going to go under 27.5 passing attempts for Desmond Ridder, quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons. Just this Falcons team, as I mentioned when we were talking about Bijan Robinson, they ran the football as much as any team in the NFL last season. That was before they acquired a generational talent in Bijan Robinson. I think that trend's going to continue this season. I think they're going to really limit Desmond Ridder, who did not look very comfortable throwing out of the pocket last year. So I think this team is going to rely heavily on their two running backs, specifically Bijan Robinson. It's an advantageous matchup against the Panthers, where they are favorites as well. So I like the Falcons to roll in this game, to run the ball heavily. I just don't think the Panthers have the firepower to really force the Falcons to abandon the run. Even when the Falcons would play from behind last year, they still ran the football as much as any team in the league. So I think Desmond Ridder is going to go way under 27.5 passing attempts. This line should have been 25.5 in my opinion.
All right, real quick in the chat, because we know you move lines. Edwin says, hey, Coach, the Ridley play just keeps moving. It started where you had it, Proppy, and during the show, it's moved to 62, 63. I know you said how far you would play it, but how far, again, would you play it?
64.5. I'd also consider scaling down to a half unit at over 62.
Okay, very, very good. Somebody in the chat said, Buckets and Guru makes the brand worldwide. So Buckets is in Japan. Guru is just south of London. And then we've got EC in Arizona. We're truly worldwide. So, EC, we're on passing props. Let's bring it home, big boy. Oh, wait. You didn't turn any in this week for the show. Oh. Do you have anything you'd like to say during this section of the show?
I really like that Sam Howell passing yards over that prop he gave. I think Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin really have a big day. I don't mind Dave's pick of his under and passing attempts, but I think we're going to see big plays against. Everybody's talking about how awful the Cardinals are in here in the Phoenix area, how dreadful. I mean, we're talking 0-17, maybe 2 wins, 2-15 is best case. This defense is awful. I'll play big plays. Dave's prop, Proppy's prop. We all win.
Hey, don't backtrack. You said I don't mind Dave's pick. Dave, you're one of the greatest of all time. He doesn't mind your pick.
That's fine. I don't mind my pick either. The one thing that I love about where Sam Howell is the receivers that he's throwing to. He could go over 200 and how many yards is it? 208.5?
Yeah.
Man, that's low. Like he could get to like 225 yards on 20 attempts.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Like the whole design of this offense is to get the ball out quick and short and accurate. And Howell can do that, and he can move too. And so that's what makes me feel good about the receivers in this game, because Dotson and McLaurin, Dotson especially, just awesome at making plays after the catch. We don't care. We want these receivers to make plays after the catch so that we can hit both of these props.
And let's remember who's calling the plays for the Commanders this year. The
Eric
same
Bieniemy.
guy who helped call the plays in Kansas City. That was a pretty good offense. Eric Bieniemy. Pretty good offense. Peggy. Hello, Peggy. She says, EC, tell Coach it's over 108 in Arizona today. Is that true?
I saw like 111, Peggy. It's a brutal weekend. It's just been one of the last 2 months have been awful. I'm waiting for the fall to kick in. We don't have leaves that turn colors, but who cares? Just give me cooler weather. It's football season.
And finally, Proppy, question from a powerful source. How do I find the prop bets on SportsLine? Very simple question. We've got a lot of new people coming to our brand this year. Can you enlighten them, please?
Yeah, so you can find my plays a variety of ways if you're a SportsLine subscriber. If you get the SportsLine app, which I would highly recommend, there is an experts page where you can get notifications every time I give a pick to the site. I've already given out over 10 picks, just props, for week one. I'll probably have close to 40 when all is said and done. The majority of my betting volume takes place in the first kind of 30% of the season. So I have as many as 30, 40, 50 plays in week one. That'll continue for week 2, week 3, week 4. But yeah, if you're a SportsLine subscriber, definitely get the app. I also have a website, or excuse me, an article on the SportsLine website as well, where it lists all of my best bets across every appearance that I make over the course of the week, which is obviously here, the Pick Six, and as well as our preview shows as well. So great place to find all of my prop bets are going to be on the website as a SportsLine subscriber.
I'm almost embarrassed for other shows and other brands. I really am. I almost want to pull up, all of our work back because it's so good. Dave, enlighten the people where they can find your award-winning fantasy football today, please.
Well, we've got a live stream right here on YouTube every morning during the NFL season where myself, Adam Azer, Jamie Eisenberg, Heath Cummings, and a cast of others join us to talk about fantasy football, guys to pick up to help you win your fantasy leagues, guys to cut because they're not going to help you win, and then who to start and sit every single week right here on YouTube. Just search for Fantasy Football Today. Go do it right now. Subscribe right now, and you'll get notifications when we come back on live. It's going to be on Sunday multiple times, and then during the week, like I said, every morning.
Boom. We're all one big team, one big crew. By the way, did you see the video of the fantasy football draft last night, Dave, where the girlfriends or the wives made the picks and the boyfriends and the husbands were across the room and they could have nothing to do with the draft, and then they managed their teams and play? Oh, my God. Funny.
No, I did not see that.
I think there's going to be like 2 divorces based off of what I saw in that video. They were making trades like 2 minutes in. She's getting angry. But I thought it was kind of a cool way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, cool is one way to describe it. Are they playing for high stakes? Because that sounds like a bad way to play fantasy for high stakes. If it's just for fun, then it's great.
But the women took it seriously. They had the computers out. They, doing the whole thing. So, it was thoroughly enjoyable to me.
Coach, we wonder why I'm single. That's probably one of the reasons.
Yes. Proppy, go.
One last thing I wanted to mention, guys. I'm going to go very high volume early in the season. So if you miss out on some of these numbers that I give out, because the lines do move fairly quickly in low liquidity markets like props, I would just encourage you to sit tight. I'm going to have plenty of more plays over the next 48 hours. So there's no need to chase bad numbers, end up with a bad value here. So just sit tight. There will be a ton of more plays and volume from yours truly.
That's what we do. We take care of you top to bottom, left to right. All right, very quickly, grab your paper, grab your pencil. Here is the recap, courtesy of the Snake. Does anybody work harder than the Snake? Are you kidding me right now? Proppy, Desmond Ridder under 27.5 pass attempts. Bijan Robinson over 13.5. Calvin Ridley, he's back over 58.5. He played up to 64. Michael Pittman under 53.5. Sam Howell over 208.5 passing yards. Then EC, 4 big plays this week. Justin Fields, he may run for 100 yards this week. He really, really could. JK, over 59.5. AJ Dillon over 43.5. Juwan Johnson over 27.5 receiving yards. Then Uncle Dave Richard. Sam Howell, under 28.5 pass attempts. Deshaun Watson, gonna have a year, I'm telling you. Over his rushing yard total, 23.5. Jordan Addison, this kid's gonna be dynamic. Wait till you see him play in the pros. Then Joe Burrow, $275 million. Welcome to the show. And Ryan Tannehill, over 30.5 pass attempts. Now, you guys know I like to end every one of my specialty shows asking my guys, my experts, what's the number one most important thing they're looking forward to for props? Whether to use it for this week or use it into the future. Proppy, start us off.
I'm mainly looking forward to seeing this rookie class as Dave's on. Jordan Addison, there's so many exciting Zay Flowers, young rookies who will be debuting. In my opinion, the books are very behind the 8 ball when it comes to handicapping these young players. So that'll provide us prop bettors plenty of opportunities, especially early in the season. So I will be paying close attention to guys like Bijan Robinson, Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, and all these fantastic rookies who are going to have big roles right away.
EC.
Well, nobody touched on, Coach, the Seahawks-Rams game. I was really surprised because Seattle's offense could be dynamic with one of those rookie receivers that Proppy just mentioned in Jackson Smith and Jigba, but DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. Now, that's the guy I'm paying attention to this week. He kind of owns the Rams, and now they don't have Jalen Ramsey. Who's in the Rams secondary? I can't name anybody. Look out for Tyler Lockett. That was the one that I just missed. That just missed the cut for me this week. I think he has a big week with Geno Smith in Seattle.
How far down the Rams have fallen in just 2 short years. Dave, bring us home.
I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there have been a few injuries already, and there's been one game in the National Football League. Kelsey's hurt, Kupp's hurt. Judy McLaurin got banged up. Christian Watson's not going to play this week. Mark Andrews might not play. Darren Waller got hurt in practice on Friday. There are already a slew of injuries in the National Football League. No one's played a game except for the Lions and the Chiefs. I'm looking forward to taking advantage of the books that don't know how to react to the next man up. It's my job to know about these guys, the players who are going to be next in line. And I can't wait to help everybody make some cash when we know that there's an injury to one of our stars. Someone's going to have to step up and replace them. We'll be able to take advantage.
It's his job, and nobody does it any better. I love this crew. We're ready to go. We are locked and loaded for the entire NFL season, and hopefully you are too. So with all that being said, there's only one thing left to do, and I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these prop tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, Lobo, Proppy, Uncle Dave, EC, Snake, always behind the scenes. He doesn't like to be on camera, but damn it, we can't do it without him. I am simply the coach, trying to keep this train on said track we grind for you so we can win with you. It's truly what we're all about right here. Have a great weekend from the Early Edge. Good luck.